This is Ready Set Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, universal energy life force. From the curious beginner to the master seasoned teacher, we welcome all lineages and all levels. And today, as we begin on our journey, you're not only fortunate enough to have one guide, but two. I am one of your guides, Tracy C. Wright.
And I'm your other guide, Millie Pampina.
And today, what an honor and privilege we have today. I met a wonderful woman several months ago, actually through Heal Me. And we've had a very wonderful relationship, a friendship that has grown over the weeks and months. And her name is Coventina Waterhawk. Now, what a powerhouse she is. Now, she has earned her Usui Reiki Master II certification in March in 2006. And she recently received her Holy Fire 3 master level training. So she is a teacher. So look out, world. She also conducts tarot readings at a metaphysical store in San Jose, California, and an owner there. So she was working there with clients. When she started her Reiki business, she offered sessions at a local spa. Her first client was one of the spa owners, and during the session, a deceased loved one stepped forward to give her a message, that client. So she was unaware of this magical gift that she had until that moment in her life. Now, throughout the years, every once in a while, a loved one would show up and relay a client's message to her. She has accepted this and believes that her Reiki guides assist her with this relaying of the messages. She combines tarot readings and Reiki into one session. She conducts the readings first for clarity, and then she uses the Reiki for relaxation. She clears your chakras during the session, and she also brings crystals onto the body to enhance the healing. She recently moved to Las Cruces, Mexico, and she had just recently, as I said earlier, earned her Holy Fire 3 Master Teacher certification. And she will be offering those online and in person as well. So welcome to Ready Set Reiki. It's so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Well, on our journey as we begin here, we have our first question. So obviously, Ready, Set, Reiki. So our question, we're going to go into that, but we want to first, I said a little bit about you, but go into a little bit more detail about yourself. I actually suspensefully left the name out of what you creatively call your little readings and Reiki business. So what you do. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am an intuitive and compassionate empath who brings healing solutions to you through readings, Reiki, and mediumship. And I lovingly call the reading and Reiki together R&R. So come and get some R&R with me. And how that started was when I was doing Reiki for a health fair in San Francisco one day, and then the second day I was supposed to do Reiki on Alcatraz Island. Well, the employees on Alcatraz heard about the readings the day before from them, and so they were all excited. They wanted to get a reading too. So I did 5 minutes of Reiki and a 5-minute reading. So that's how R&R came about, and I've been doing it ever since. And that was back in 2010.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you gave a little number there of the year, but when did Reiki come into your life?
It was probably 2005 when I started working at a metaphysical store, and the owner was a Reiki master teacher. And so she was doing Reiki all day long in the store. And so just the energy, feeling the energy, was really awesome. And so I was really curious. So I took a class in 2006 and was certified with my level 2. And 5 months after, I was walking with a cane when I first started. And about 5 months into this, when my teacher did a healing on me and she put her hands on my knees, she just looked up and asked me, "When's the last time you used a cane?" And I could not answer her question because the Reiki was so subtle that I just stopped using the cane because my knee no longer hurt. Right. So that's how I came into the Reiki, and yeah.
Wonderful. So you've been in this wonderful field of Reiki for some time. So, what are some of the common misperceptions about the work that you do?
Well, a lot of people think that healing is a destination, not a journey. And so when I share with my client, I do share with my clients, my journey of healing throughout the years. And sometimes they think, oh, you're going to get rid of my pain, or you're going to get, especially if they have chronic pain, they think I'm just going to zap them and so it, I try to take time to explain to them the process. If you have something chronic, it'll take a few more sessions. It's not just a one-time thing, and it's just like going to the chiropractor or going to a massage therapist to get all the toxins out. It's just an ongoing process. It takes a little while.
Right. Right. And I think that's also a lot of people don't understand. They think it's woohoo and you're going to wave a wand and poof, you're going to be done. But you figure, when you hurt yourself, how many times you go to physical therapy, right? How many times you go see these specialists or a massage therapist. So it's cumulative. And I love the way you put it. It's a journey. And that's why we see ourselves as guides on a journey rather than co-hosts as we navigate through this, because we've been very fortunate to have just a wonderful variety of people, all who've had different experiences, but we all have that same goal of service and love. So very good. So our next question is, what do you wish your younger self knew about this current profession that you're in?
Wow. I think for me, because I went through so much trauma, that it could have really helped. Because once I found the Reiki in 2006, I really healed a lot of that trauma. So I really wish that I would have had that for support, going through the traumatic events that I was going through, to help ease and comfort me through those situations.
Oh, wonderful. But when you get it, what a gift it is, right? So,
Yes. Yeah,
right.
it's amazing because, and a lot of my clients fall asleep during a session. And so I really truly believe, like sweat lodges that I went to, I would fall asleep during the lodge. And, the facilitator always said, well, that's where I get my deep healing. That's where spirit comes in and does its thing. And so we get that deep healing inside, I believe, when we fall
Sure.
asleep,
Sure.
and relax enough for the energy to come through.
Right, right. My husband always said I have like the blood sugar of a hummingbird and I keep moving around. So when I do Reiki sessions, when I receive it, when I do like sound baths, I'm always knocked out. So those experiences, it has to put me to sleep because my guides are like, yeah, you need to go down. So, and then I wake up, it's like, oh, I missed everything, but you really didn't. So you got exactly what you needed. So. So, what do you think the biggest challenge in this industry is facing today?
Trying to explain to people what the Reiki is. When I just say it's energy work. I just had a gal at the eye doctor ask me, she was telling me about, she has some anxiety going on and she she feels a little off. And I said, well, did you know I do Reiki? And she was like, really? So a lot of people though, they think, um, it's just really hard sometimes to describe to people, what it actually is and what it does. Because a lot of people they think it's massage or they think it's, like a chiropractor, or, you know what I mean? They think that it's something else. And then they get really nervous, and it's like, well, maybe I'll check it out, that kind of thing. So it's really nice to have those people that are skeptical, because I had a skeptic once right after I had my certification, and I was still
Right.
skeptic too. And so, but it worked. She had neck pain and it subsided. And a week later I came back and it subsided altogether. So
Right.
she hasn't had it since.
Wonderful, wonderful. I often gauge people when they are curious. I'll even say, do you pray? and then we take it from there. And that seems to be the gauge of what direction I can go in the explanation with people. So get an understanding a little bit. So what is something everybody in your industry should stop doing?
Saying that they can heal everything, because we can't, like I said before, it's not like we zap people healed, that it's an ongoing process, and try to just, be gentle with themselves first, and then they can be gentle with their clients. A lot of times they will, think that, oh, I'm better than this person because I have, my level, I have level 3 instead of level 2. And so I'm better at it than you are. And no, it's not a competition. It's not anything like that. I just feel that we're just more open to more energy, the further we go in our education.
Right, absolutely. And I have found some people who have only been in this field for a year and they're very powerful. They come that first day and you can see this is something they have worked with their whole life and they just didn't have a name for it. So I don't even look at it in the sense of time per se. It's just, on this journey where they are. So there are some powerful people out there. And I have students that come, and my husband said once, like, well, why are you training that person? That's your competition. It's like, no, it's not. We need Reiki for everyone. That person's going to have exactly what that student or client needs. So that's how I'm seeing it. So I'm fine with trading, services or helping others, even if someone was 5 minutes from where I was, because it's going to be unique and offer different things as well. And even if that person did I'm going to follow your thing exactly to the T, it's still going to be different. So,
Right.
yeah. Right. So, yeah, the things with that is we're all together working, for the same purpose of just being of service, and helping and love. So, what are some of the qualities when it's time for you to get your tune up? You mentioned you've gone to some other Reiki practitioners. So, what are the qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner?
What I feel is the humility, instead of, oh, well, I'm a Reiki master, when they get their ego into it, that's a real big turnoff for me. And it's supposed to be gentle as like, no, I'm here to serve other people. I'm here to be of service. Instead of, I just really try to find somebody that has gone through the process themselves, that if they have, their own healing journey, if they shared that, so that I can see that they have experienced the healing, along their journey, because it's easier to relate to the clients that way, when we go through a process of healing a different, type of, section of our lives or whatever, it's like we can share that with other people and say, well, the Reiki did it. I didn't do it, but I was just a channel for it.
For sure, for sure. When I hear that too, like, oh, you healed me. I didn't do anything. I stepped out of the way.
Right.
And calling in and just always being humble and always saying thank you for any and all who are here to help and be of service. So, yeah, it's super important with that too. The ego, because you find some people feel they can do this and that, and we're all, we're all learning, and that's why it's so much fun doing this journey, and asking people, hey, what's your side of this? What have you learned? What can you bring? And also too, just doing the Reiki on yourself, going out and getting Reiki. When I teach yoga, I tell people, if you're going to teach this, you got to know how it feels in your body. You need to know these experiences, and there's things that you're going to learn, and you're going to ask somebody, and I've never heard of that. So you might be in uncharted waters, but that's how you're being of service to your client. So wonderful. So if someone's brand new, we have that curious beginner that's coming to you. What advice would you give someone who wants to enter this profession? And you can also incorporate your reading as well with that, with the Reiki answer.
Yes. I also, I have a client who needs a lot of help. I have picked up on during a reading, the clarity that she's an empath and she has all these different energies, surrounding her. And she's, and I just said, I really feel like you could use to, become certified so that you could do this, for yourself and possibly for the people around you that you feel are, need it, that are coming to you for advice, and things like that. And so, I just opened it up and I said, how do you feel about this? And I asked how they feel, whether or not they want to, because they've been my client for a while now. And, she has received the healing in certain aspects of her life that we've concentrated on over time. And so I just, and so she's ready. She's ready to learn. And
Right.
So I hope that, I can explain a little bit more about what's involved and, just to make sure that she's ready for it,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Right. And what a gift that she has by having you as her guide. So here you are. Now you're guiding on the journey. So I see how beautiful that is. So we all start in that one spot and we're always continuing to learn. So yeah, keep going on that trail. So good job. So what are some books that you recommend, whether it's for the Reiki or for card readings?
The most powerful book that I have read over time was called The Reconnection by Dr. Eric Pearl. He was a chiropractor in Los Angeles, and he had this booming business. He happened to be on the second floor, so he has no idea why he was, upstairs. But he had a client come to him that was walking with a cane, and he could barely get up the stairs. And during this session, healing, and he was called to just place his hands over his patient's body, and all kinds of things started to happen. And the guy was able to get up and walk out and down those stairs without the cane. And so he was like, what is this? So he started to investigate, and he started to have Reiki masters come to him for questions, and how do you do this, and how did that happen? And he's like, I don't know, I just, and so he also, in the book, he has these experiences, these practice sessions that you can do, like holding your hands together and feeling the energy, and then moving them apart until you feel the energy going back and forth, and a little bit further. And then he was like, just like a ping pong ball, you just go from one side and you wait for the energy on the other hand, and then you go back, and and pretty soon you can put it around a person's body. And so that was just really educational for me. I was just like, I just soaked up, and it's an easy read. I mean, I think I read his book in like a day and a half, and that's unusual for me because I'm not.
It inspired you. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was an amazing book.
Wow, wonderful. So our last question is, what services do you offer and where can we find you?
Well, I am in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I have a healing room in my home. And so I can do in-person readings and Reiki there. I also like to do my mediumship readings on Zoom and record them so that my clients can download them and keep them forever. And then, of course, I do the R&R, the Reiki and Reading Together. And I do a lot of sessions on Zoom online. And so, yeah, that's basically what I do. I mean, now I can offer classes,
Yes, and you are a teacher now. So she can offer Holy Fire 3, level 1, level 2, and level 3. So that's a big whoop whoop. That's a big feather in your cap, girl. So I'm so proud of you. So yeah, so wonderful offerings. Is there any other way we can get in touch with you for our listeners who are listening to this and be like, wow, what you're saying really resonates with them?
Yes, it's CoventinaWaterhawk.com, or the condensed version is covihawk.com, and it'll take you to my website. And on the About Me page, it talks a lot about my journey, how I started out when I was a kid, and people were coming to me for for answers to questions that they had. We all knew that I knew. We just didn't know how I knew. I just knew
Yes.
answers,
Yes.
and then that journey took me on a different path. And, my, the dark times that I went through, and then how I was brought into the light when I was 21. Yeah. And so they can get a hold of me with CoventinaWaterhawk.com.
Right. Your story reminds me of Harriet Knight is a Reiki and psychic and an author, and she and it never clicked until she put it together. Where you're thinking of Oz, Wizard of Oz, the Yellow Brick Road, and how Dorothy would continue on that, being that solar plexus, and how she veered off on all these dark places, but then she eventually followed that path to the Emerald City, which is the heart. So all those things on your journey have led you here today, and now you're going to be teaching and sharing your knowledge with everyone. So know that all those experiences have been, are going to be used in a way that can be of service to others. So be so proud of yourself in doing that. So you're
Yes,
going to
I'm
be
also a
unstoppable.
published author. I've written.
That's right. I was going to mention that. I know. I was going to say that, but I was waiting for you. So share with us your books. Where can we find them?
So if you go to mentalyspeaking.net, there's 3 books on the site. And one is about domestic violence and how you can escape and be free. There's another one on mental health issues and how, what the coping skills are. And there's 12 or 13 stories in the back of the book with all these different types of coping skills that these people have. And then the other one is about, a lady who is on a journey to discover who her true self is, because she's like a people pleaser, and she morphs into whoever she thinks people want her to be. And then she finally discovers what she likes, and, what her, what her self is, and setting boundaries, and, that kind of thing. So those are the 3.
See, I told you she's got a lot going on. But she always has room for more, right?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Clients
Yes,
and helping. Yep.
yes, I'm in the process of writing another book about all the loss that I've been through in my life.
Wonderful.
How I've walked through that journey.
Right. And hopefully we can get her over to El Paso to do one of the markets or come to the studio to do something. So that may
I actually signed up for that one in July.
wonderful. So there we go. We're getting closer to one another. Booked and blessed. Booked and blessed. So thank you so much for being on our show today and answering the questions. Now it is the part of the journey where I'm going to pass it over to my wonderful co-guide, Millie, and she has some questions that we've got off of social media. So if you are interested in asking any questions for our guests, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, or www.ReadySetReiki.com. So Millie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And Coventina, it's been my pleasure to spend time with you this week during the training and just listening to your story. I'm really happy to see that you are, so motivated in continuing your journey. I mean, having been, received your first Reiki attunements back in 2006, that's a really great story. And it's, it inspires me to keep saying, I need to continue on. I need to do this because there's more down that yellow brick road for me to find and explore and think about. So thank you again for sharing with us. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I'm at, but maybe one of these days I can get out to El Paso.
Millie's been to El Paso many times, so
many times
she was
prior. So.
One of the few. I think it was her and one other person were positive about El Paso, Texas, in its sense. Everybody else was just really dumping the negativity on me, but she was one of 2 people that it's going to be fine. You're going to be okay.
Yeah, I found myself personally, I found that particular area of the country to be very almost uplifting. I just felt really good about being there. I've been to New Mexico quite a few times, and I just feel almost like I'm at home when I'm out in that environment. So it speaks to me. It resonates with me quite clearly. So, but anyway, at this point, we have 3 questions that Tracy has taken from our social media. People send their input when they look on our website and they look on Facebook, and they're curious, they want to know. And we boil it down basically to 3 questions, which we've sent you in advance because we like everybody to be super comfortable with, what we're asking you to do. And the first one is which spiritual principles do you practice, and what principles help guide your work? Any mantra or affirmations that you meditate or focus on? Somebody got a twofer on that one, but you have had the most intense questions come in that I've seen yet to date. So I just love the questions when Tracy sent them to me.
Oh, you know what? She's leveled up. So
Yep.
the universe thinks she's ready. So here we go.
Well, I do have, some higher powers in my life that and I have more than one, and I know that there's plenty in the world to, go around for people. And so I just ask, please direct my thoughts and actions and show me what to do today. And I try to be kind towards people. I say my Reiki principles every day, and that sets me, and I write a gratitude list. And that's what starts my day. I also do, like a reading in the morning as well with tarot cards, just to see what my message for the day is going to be. And then I just go about my day.
Wonderful. So thank you again. That lends all the way back to, you're a guide. That's why Tracy and I use the word guide as opposed to host. And, you're using your ability to channel for the greater good. And I love to hear when people are, working on themselves first. It's basically like the airplane oxygen. You put your own on first before you can save others. So that's a great suggestion and great information for our audience. So again, how do you maintain the legacy and integrity of the practice of Reiki and not fall into cultural appropriation?
I just keep focused on how I received Reiki, watching my teacher at the time, how she lived her life, and just emulated what she was doing, love and service for others, and just, to stay focused on the service and the love, and, really helping other people just by accepting them for who they are and where they're at in their life, and try to help them and see if I can help them. I have a little wellness card now, wellness plan card that I created, for my clients. It's like, do you journal? Because journal is really important to me. Do you spend some quiet time, in the morning and in the evening? So I just want to, instill in my clients that this is a powerful path to follow, when you do certain things during the day, for themselves.
Very good. I love the idea of a wellness card. Congratulations. And our third question is, how should I prepare myself before my appointment with an energy practitioner?
I usually allow people to just come as they are, that they don't really need to prepare for anything. There's nothing to prepare for. It's just, to just be there and to just be open to the experience. So the open-mindedness is the main thing, and just be open and to receive whatever comes. And they usually have a great experience.
Oh, wonderful. Well, obviously, I'm going to be looking forward to hearing more about your journey, and I'm going to be looking on your website. We also have you on our ReadySetReiki website, so folks can find you. And I want to hopefully watch your journey with not only being the the communications channel, but also the teacher and mentor to others who really could benefit from your experience and your belief in our system. So thank you so much. Again, my name is Millie Pampina, and I am your co-guide. And my tagline is, to see beauty in everything is a choice. Please choose wisely. Thank you, Coventina, for your participation today.
Thank you very much. And I just came up with something really quick. The word hope, I came up with an acronym for the word hope, because it's what I do at every session, whether it be a reading or Reiki or mediumship, and it's helping others process emotions. And so you'll find that on my website.
Wonderful. Better trademark that as your teaching.
Yes, and it just came to me.
Beautiful. Wonderful. See, now you've picked that light up on the path of the journey and you're brightening the way for others on it. So well done. So, and I'm your other guide, Tracy Seawright. Thank you so much for being on our podcast today. It has been lovely, and I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing and that you're going to continue to do. So thank you, everyone. This ends our episode of Ready, Set, Reiki. If you want more information, you can find us at www.readysetreiki.com. Take care, everyone. Bye.